mantra that free speech only applies to instances involving the government as a check against those in power, quieting dissenters is oft repeated by people on both sides of the political spectrum. This still raises moral questions, as in the case of CNN, again, making an absolute ass of themselves in writ large fashion. Now, they are technically a privately owned entity, and thus, they don't have the monopoly on the use of force that a government does, nor are they empowered to blackmail a private citizen. By now, CNN Blackmail is a top trending hashtag, and for good reason. The entire point of the First Amendment is to prevent the chilling effect of governmental power structures being able to intimidate or force the populace into not expressing disagreement with policy decisions and not being free to criticize their leaders. This little touch-and-go dance of staying just this side of not violating that premise has become a favored pastime, especially by the modern left. They've maintained that freedom of association has its limits for some businesses and not others. Now, what comes to mind? How about the dichotomy between Christian bakers refusing to produce a cake for a same-sex wedding versus social media and online giants such as Facebook and Google censoring users, demonetizing their original content, or even outright banning people on a selective basis, which always seems to rather conveniently match up to users whose opinions do not toe the leftist line. CNN has taken this issue to a whole new level entirely, by actually threatening to dox the user who produced the GIF animation of Trump clotheslining and pummeling Vince McMahon during a long-past WrestleMania, with the CNN logo superimposed over Vinnie Mac's face. For those who don't realize the significance of a dox, this just refers to a wide release of an individual's personal information, often with the implication that others will take action based on this data, whether it be to attack the target's employment, their personal life, or even their family. Now, in the current climate of division, and with a powder keg of violence already giving the occasional spark and small blast, such an action is tantamount to making a threat on a person's well-being, and indeed, perhaps even their very life. Mind you, the sort of delegitimization of Trump as president, the angry rhetoric, and the tacit approval of quote-unquote resistance actions by outlets such as CNN, well, they have helped to sow this field of figurative landmines in the first place. And they're in no hurry to own up to their part in fomenting and fostering these attitudes. Certainly not by practicing this sort of veiled thuggery against a private citizen. Still, the game of semantics and technicalities is going to come into play, and Trump's detractors will no doubt hold tightly to the fact that no one's civil rights were actually violated. So I will be perfectly blunt. To CNN, you possess a platform which enables you to unmask a private citizen, and there exists a reasonable chance that doing so will place them in personal, professional, or other forms of danger. You may not be violating the First Amendment by its strictest sense, because you are not a government agency. However, you are morally and professionally bankrupt due to engaging in exactly the sort of political bullying and thought policing which all stripes of people on the right have accused you and others in the media of. You are, whether intentionally or not, blackmailing someone indirectly, and that is a violation of their civil rights, insomuch as a dox can very easily compromise his life and livelihood. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are considered to be an American's fundamental, natural rights as a citizen. You are wielding power over this person which is not even allowed for the government to hold. You are threatening this person's life, because it is no hyperbole to suggest that there are violent people out there who could very well go after him if you present his personal details in this context. You are threatening his liberty, because you not releasing his information is apparently contingent on his online activity remaining in line with what you find acceptable. And taken together, you are threatening his ability to pursue happiness so long as it does not infringe on the life, liberty, and ability of others to pursue theirs. Notice I said ability, because the only guarantee is an individual's freedom to seek their own happiness. This is not 1984, and no one appointed you as the thought police. You are not the arbitrators of wrongthink, newspeak, or anything of the sort, and frankly, you deserve to continue tumbling in popularity until you become just as unsustainable as the New York Times, and must keep being funded directly by people with a clear agenda in order to remain an outlet of news and opinion in the public eye.